just reading about this. Doing well. Wish our country was doing better, but I'm doing okay. I was just reading this story. Canada bans a Irish rap group called Kneecap from entering the country. I don't know if anybody's heard of the Irish rap group Kneecap. So the Canadian government banned the Irish language rap group Kneecap from the country Friday, saying the group has endorsed political violence and terrorism. The group has faced criticism for political statements seeming to glorify militant groups like Hamas and Hezbollah. Hungary previously banned the group. Liberal lawmaker Vince Gasparo, parliamentary secretary for combating crime, said Kneecap has publicly displayed support for terrorist organizations such as Hezbollah and Hamas that goes beyond artistic expression. Canada stands firmly against hate speech, incitement to violence, and the glorification of terrorism. Only they took that firm of a stand against Netanyahu, right? Gasparo said in a video on social media, political debate and free speech are vital to our democracy, but open endorsements of terrorist groups are not free speech. Kneecap has accused critics of trying to silence the band because of its support for the Palestinian cause through Israel's war in Gaza. They say they don't support Hezbollah and Hamas nor condone violence. Kneecap responded in an Instagram post. And again, this is from the AP. Kneecap responded in an Instagram post saying that Gasparo's comments are wholly untrue and deeply malicious. Quote, "We have today instructed our lawyers to initiate legal action against you," the band's statement said. "We will be relentless in defending ourselves against baseless accusation to silence our opposition to a genocide being committed by Israel." Kneecap was scheduled to perform next month in Toronto and Vancouver. The Canada-based advocacy organization Center for Israel and Jewish Affairs says the decision is a stand against, quote, "incitement, hate, and radicalization," while Jewish organization B'nai B'rith is declaring victory. Kneecap performed in April at the Coachella Valley Music and Arts Festival here near my neck of the woods in California, where they accused Israel, enabled by the U.S. government, of committing genocide against Palestinians. Sounds pretty accurate to me. That sparked calls for the rapper's U.S. visas to be revoked, and several Kneecap gigs have been since canceled. Canada, this surprises me. Fort Worth, nice. Yeah, free Palestine. I mean, what is going on there? What's going on in Canada? You guys got the same problem over there? APAC, or whatever their version is. Fort Worth, how are things in Texas? You guys holding up over there? Not what? I don't know what that means. You trying to like decode? Oh, looking at the definition. Interesting. Alright, let's see what else is going on out there. Feel free to request if you want to. Happy to chat. I usually start these things by reading some news. Kind of doing my research with you guys, but feel free to jump on. I'll try to answer any questions. If you're MAGA or not in Texas, pretty bad. How's like, I've heard the metropolitan areas aren't that bad, like Houston, Dallas. I don't know, I'm not there, so you tell me. Thought on us going to Afghanistan. It's wild, isn't it? The anti-war president just keeps making these moves. The supposed anti-war president, obviously, keeps making these moves. And what you got to say, Base? Okay, appreciate the gift, Robin. Thank you. So for guest 2, I do prioritize first subscriptions, or as they call them, super fans, I guess now. But then gifters next. But anybody's welcome to jump on. But if there's a lot waiting, as there usually are, I do prioritize. MAGA Idaho. Ooh, that's about as bad as it gets. I am sorry. I'll give you a follow back just out of support. Tough area. I know some people from Idaho. I really love Idaho. Boise especially is great. College town. You don't probably get as much of that there, but man, that might be the reddest state. People don't realize it. Trump says he will award the Presidential Medal of Freedom to Ben Carson. Wonderful. What did Ben Carson do to deserve that? Congratulations, Ben. He didn't know this, Trump said in a speech during an event at Mount Vernon for American Cornerstone Institute, founded by Carson. He didn't know it. I hope he's happy. Yeah, Boise, they got the college, obviously, so it's a little bit different. But yeah, downtown Boise, though, that's actually one of my favorite downtowns. I do love it down there. Good friend of mine's from there. Yeah, it's crazy. I'm just trying to see what he's being awarded for. But let's see here. It doesn't even say why. Just handing out awards to his buddies. Yeah, I guess that shouldn't surprise us. After cuts to food stamps, Trump administration ends government's annual report on hunger in America. Wonderful. This is from the AP again. The Trump administration is ending the federal government's annual report on hunger in America, stating that it had become, quote, overly politicized, hunger, and, quote, rife with inaccuracies. Oh my God. The decision comes 2.5 months after President Donald Trump signed legislation sharply reducing food aid to the poor. The Congressional Budget Office has estimated that the tax and spending cuts bill Republicans muscled through Congress in July means 3 million people would not qualify for food stamps. They don't want you to see that. Also known as SNAP benefits. The decision to scrap the U.S. Department of Agriculture's Household Food Security Report was first reported by the Wall Street Journal. In a press release Saturday, the USDA said the 2024 report, to be released October 22nd, would be the last. Quote, the questions used to collect data are entirely subjective and do not present an accurate picture of actual food security, the USDA said. The data is rife with inaccuracies slanted to create a narrative that is not representative of what is actually happening in the countryside, as we are currently experiencing lower poverty rates, increasing wages, and job growth under the Trump administration. Just all outright lies. None of that's true. The Census Bureau reported earlier this month that the U.S. poverty rate dipped from 11% in 2023 to 10.6% last year, just before Trump took office, just before. Critics were quick to accuse the administration of deliberately making it harder to measure hunger. Well, yeah, and assess the impact of its cuts to food stamps. Quote, Trump is canceling our annual government survey that measures hunger in America rather than allow it to show hunger increasing under its tenure. End quote. Bobby Kogan, Senior Director of Federal Budget Policy at the left-leaning Center for American Progress, said on social media. Quote, this follows the playbook of many non-democracies that cancel or manipulate reports that otherwise show less than perfect news. You know, I thought this might be happening for some time, especially when we saw after COVID how much good the child tax credit did. I don't think Trump minded those results because he was partially responsible for that. He did, send money and whatnot, but ending that, they knew that they were sending people straight into poverty and they don't want people to know about it. Pretty disgusting. What else is new? Yeah, they're botching me. Yeah, the reports all over the place. I don't think, in my videos, I often go to FBI data or DOD data or you name it, right? I'm going to, for housing, FHA or, depending on what I'm looking for. for monetary policy, St. Louis Fed. But a lot of these, I can't use it anymore. I'm glad to see that California, Oregon, and Washington are going to start, releasing their own medical data and recommendations. But yeah, we're going to have to find new sources of information for everything because it's not going to be reliable anymore. Like with COVID, for instance, right? We couldn't rely on this under Trump anyway, but we're going to have to rely more on things like Johns Hopkins and some of these private sources, unfortunately. Appreciate the fan clubs and the gifts. Thanks, guys. Again, feel free to jump on. I'd appreciate if you tap the screen a bunch of times to get this going as usual. And feel free to request, but I always start out kind of just doing my little research, reading through some articles. To Washington State, where you're in Idaho. Yeah, that would be smart. Especially over near the coast. I love Washington State. It's beautiful. So here's a Guardian article from today by David Smith. How Trump is seizing on Charlie Kirk's killing for a campaign of vengeance. The Trump administration is trying to harness outrage over the right-wing activist killing to crush dissent, experts say. They will gather to mourn one of their own. On Sunday, the late right-wing activist Charlie Kirk is said to be hailed by Donald Trump as a martyr of the Make America Great Again movement. But Kirk's memorial service is at a 63,000-seat football stadium in Arizona. But Kirk's memorial service, which is at a football stadium, critics fear could be exploited by the president to serve a darker purpose, turning collective grief into a campaign of vengeance against America's enemy within. Trump has spent the past 10 days escalating threats against what he calls the radical left after the fatal shooting of Kirk, 31, at a university campus in Utah. The White House is considering classifying some groups as domestic terrorists and revoking tax-exempt status for certain nonprofits, even though there's no evidence linking these groups to the killing. Trump and his allies have also sought to undermine the legitimacy of the Democratic Party, branding it as an extremist organization despite it having roundly condemned the attack on Kirk. Although officials insist that their focus is preventing violence, critics see an extension of Trump's campaign of retribution against his political foes and an erosion of free speech rights. They warn that in an echo of authoritarian governments around the world, his administration is trying to harness outrage over Kirk's killing to crush dissent. And yeah, we are seeing this around the world. Just gross. It's absolutely gross. Political violence is often used as a pretext to crack down on civil liberties and on opponents. This is page 1 of the Autocrats Playbook, said Stephen Levitsky, a political scientist at Harvard University and co-author of the book How Democracies Die. I'm a Latin Americanist by training, and the language we've heard lately reminds me a lot of the outsized response of military dictators in South America in the 1970s. And that was a response to much higher levels of political violence than we see in the United States. Levitsky added, one is hard-pressed to find an authoritarian government that did not take advantage of either a terrorist attack or political assassination, an episode of political violence to further crack down on civil liberties. This is mainstream authoritarian stuff. Just so crazy, guys. So crazy. The crazy doesn't stop. They're going to come after all of us. They are. Every single one of us they're going to come after. But I'm not afraid, so come at me. However, administration officials have repeatedly made sweeping statements about the need for broader investigations and punishments related to Kirk's death. Stephen Miller, a top policy advisor, claimed without evidence that there was an organized campaign that led to this assassination. Miller's comments came during a conversation with J.D. Vance, who was guest hosting Kirk's talk show from his ceremonial office in the White House on Monday. Miller said he was feeling focused, righteous anger And we are going to channel all that anger by working to uproot and dismantle these terrorist networks by using every resource we have. And we're not far from what we've seen before in this country. I always tell the story. My grandma tells me that how she remembers when she was a kid, her neighbors who were accused of being communists being dragged out of their homes, and that's where this is headed. So let's hope it doesn't get there. The vice president blamed crazies on the far left for saying the White House would go after constitutionally protected speech. Instead, he said, we're going to go after the NGO network that foments, facilitates, and engages in violence. Wild. Chester, how's it going?
Just to play devil's advocate, I mean, it was an amendment to the Constitution, right?
What
The
was
First Amendment. The First Amendment. I mean, it wasn't part of the Constitution. They had to.
No, the Bill of Rights was passed with the Constitution.
Well, I mean, why do they say that they're amendments if they are actually part of it? You know what I mean?
Because the first 10 amendments were something that they had to bring in because they couldn't get all of the states to ratify the Constitution. And so James Madison, based on opposition to the Constitution, brought in the Bill of Rights to appease them. He didn't want it in there initially, but he brought it in to appease them. And I think they were right? They wanted to make sure that freedom of religion, speech, that all of these things were codified. And so the Bill of Rights was ultimately ratified with the original Constitution, the first 10 amendments. After that, those amendments came later, but the first 10 were there.
Fair enough. But again, I hear you say, I mean, as you're telling it back to me, you're saying freedom of religion, freedom of speech. One thing that didn't hop off your tongue right away there was freedom of the press. Couldn't that be perhaps something that's maybe that's not quite as important? That may have been,
No, that's actually probably the most important. That's the one that keeps a check on power. They're supposed to speak truth to power, make sure that people are accountable. It's one of the most important. So no, I wouldn't minimize that at all.
Well, I felt like you minimized it when you didn't mention it a moment ago. But
I only mentioned a couple things. There's 10 amendments. I didn't mention all of them. I was just saying.
Well, I'm doing my best to play devil's advocate here, but you're not giving me a fair shot, to be honest.
Why do you want to play devil's advocate? You don't have an opinion yourself?
No, well, I think my opinion aligns with yours, and it wouldn't be very interesting,
I mean, I
don't want to preach to the choir here.
Yeah, I chat with people that agree with me all the time. It's a great conversation. It's good. To
yeah,
have
I know.
Yeah,
I know.
It's nice to have both.
Well, hey, thanks for having me in. I'm going to stick around. If you don't mind.
Yeah,
Very
sure.
good.
Sounds good. We're just getting started, so I'm sure there'll be some guest requests. And
man, I've been following you for a long time.
Oh, I appreciate it. Thank you, man.
Yeah,
it's interesting the way lives work now. I've noticed. So it's like you've got to go on consistently for TikTok to move you up into these levels now. And when you go on, it's like you'll hover around 1 to 10 for. I've gone as long as an hour. And then all of a sudden a flood will come in. See, it's just weird the way it works now. So I've been starting these things by just kind of reading the news, doing some of my research because I do that anyway. So it seems to work out. But yeah, somebody will probably join eventually. But I appreciate you following me. Thank you.
but hey, I like your level head, man. I like the way you think.
Well, I don't know if I'd consider myself level, but I do my best. Yeah, no, it's hard to find truth these days, that's for sure. But there still are some good sources of information. Are you? What are your political leanings, non-leanings? Where would you consider yourself?
I'm a Democrat. I think, some important issues to me, the environment, educate, and as far as where money goes, education, And really, just as far as where money goes, there's a lots of places that the government ought to be spending money that, left to the private sector, money would not be spent there. And I think that when that money's spent in those ways, the pie gets bigger. And so, we hear about these. We hear about the argument. Well, hey, let's how we want to make the pie bigger. Let's leave more money to the private citizens here. Let their own. They're going to buy more boats, and then the whole pie is going to get bigger. Well, I think the pie is going to get bigger if we fund more scientific research that's not obviously profitable to private companies, right? That's
Sure.
what's going to make the pie get bigger. There's lots of ways the pie is going to get bigger by funding by funneling money into the public sector. In my opinion, there's lots of public good jobs, publicly funded jobs that are actually adding value to all of our lives here. The pie is actually growing here. That's where we want to be. The money machine, yeah, let's get it rolling. Let's print the money and let's send it to these places. I don't want trickle down. I want there's so many ways we could be spending money.
All I know is you're
Through
making
the
me want
government.
pie now.
What?
I said all I know is you're making me want pie now.
Oh yeah,
Just kidding. Yeah,
Queen.
this is I'm an Angels fan, so this is like an alternative Angels hat. So it's the state of California with the halo on top. So we used to be the California Angels, so there's a lot of stuff like this. Anyway. Hey Queen, how's it going?
Good. I just came to say hi. I'm on these New York. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Yeah, Chester is
I'm
kind
on
of
these
doing
New York
some
City
happening.
streets. Uh, yeah.
Yeah, it's the way these lives work now. I was explaining to Chester, it's a little different. So I've been starting them off just like doing my research, reading articles, and then
Yeah,
sometimes
that's why I
doing
came
like
up. I heard you say that.
yeah. It's just strange the way it works
These
now.
new
But
rules are ridiculous. But I mean,
yeah,
this is going to be gone in a couple of months anyways, and we have to download that other app allegedly.
Yeah, I don't know how that's gonna work. I
I
tend not
won't
to
be
read
doing
too much
that.
into those things
So,
because like every time people have predicted something, it's been wrong. We thought we were gonna have to
oh yeah, I
download
don't trust anything.
the so
Who the hell knows? I mean, that man changes his mind like I don't know. We change underwear because I'm not. I don't know, or if he changes underwear, whatever. I don't even want to get it. Anywho, but you get what I'm saying. The wind could
I've
blow
been
the
on
wrong
this
way, and
app
he's
now
gonna be like,
for
"Oh my God, we're huh?"
I said I've been out in this app now for 5 years, and every year it's almost gotten banned, and we're still here. So we'll see.
Yeah. Well, the banning stuff started in 23, right? Because 2020 to 2023 was like the sweet spot for TikTok, and then it went to shit, kind of,
Yeah,
sort
as
of.
soon as October 7th happened, the Israelis weren't too happy with TikTok.
Right. That's what it was. Yeah, true. That's when it
But
went mental.
yeah, it's wild times,
How
that's
you
for
feeling
sure.
about life,
Absolutely
about
wild
things?
times. Say it again.
How are you feeling about life, about things?
Oh, I don't know. As good as anybody can feel, I guess. It's I see Chicago now is dealing with what we've been dealing with in LA, and they seem to be putting up a pretty good
What's
fight, which
happening
is
in
good to
Chicago?
see. Well, ICE is there now in the military, so they're going through the same thing that we went through a couple months ago. Um,
Oh, but
that we're still going
did
through,
they
but
steal like two tanks or something in Chicago?
yeah, they're doing raids every day. I mean, there was what's her name, Kat, that influencer congressional candidate. She was like tackled by ICE the other day.
Oh
Um,
shit.
yeah, what's her Kat something? I can't remember her last name. She's running for Congress, but she's here on TikTok. But yeah, Chicago's a mess, right? Just like we were in LA when it first started. It's the same type of deal. I'm glad to see them fighting, but who knows? It didn't help us, so we'll see if it helps them. So, but we do
I
make some progress.
mean,
We got a lot of immigrant groups here though that have like really stepped up and I think stopped a lot of it because they're tracking ICE everywhere, warning neighborhoods. You know, there's these communication networks that have really helped out. I think.
that's
So,
good. I mean, I don't see them coming to New York anytime soon.
oh, they'll be there. they'll be there. I think Trump said today that that might be.
They're not going to last too long.
Look, if they can last in
Eh.
LA, they can last in New York. So I don't know. We have
You want to know what?
streets of LA
LA
are
is,
just as tough as
the
anything
people
else.
aren't as concentrated as it is in New York City. You're talking about 8 million people within a span of, I don't know, 25 miles or something. That's a lot of goddamn people. So it's a little bit
You
of a
know, that
different
used to be
dynamic,
more
I
the
think.
case, but yeah, that used to be more the case. But now LA is much, much more dense than it used to be. So
Okay.
yeah, it's not the. It's not the. I think we're looking. What is the? So we took away the San Fernando Valley. Let me see LA population now. Well, and the other thing is that the most dense regions that are the toughest regions, like Compton, Inglewood, East LA, right? So these are places that if we can't take them down there, I don't know. I don't know what city's going to do it. But let's see here. What are we at? So LA is at
Yeah,
twelve
but
point
we're
nine
like proper.
people.
But LA
So
County is massive, isn't it?
yeah, so the just the city of LA, or I'm sorry, the where's the? Hold on a second. It's always changing. So just within the city limits, we're looking at 3.88 million, but that obviously doesn't include any of the coastal cities or whatever. So yeah, it's definitely less, but it is a lot more dense here than it used to be. That's for sure.
Okay.
Every time I drive
Yeah,
by
I don't
downtown
know.
LA, it's like twice. It's like twice as big as it was just 10 years ago. It's crazy the amount of construction.
Oh yeah, there's so much construction here in the city. I was just watching Hamilton, and I was like looking around, and I was like, this shit looks like nothing. I don't even recognize things anymore. I don't like that. But I mean,
You guys are building too those weird skinny buildings.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, those
those things
are,
look
I
weird.
don't get it. They
Yeah.
look they look scary. They look like I wouldn't want to live there. I mean,
Well, I feel like it kind of clutters up the skyline a little bit. Doesn't make it look as like as pretty. I don't know what it is, but
I think that's the point though, because we had such a beautiful skyline with like the Twin Towers before that thing happened. And I think that's the point, honestly. But
mm.
that
Yeah, we
freaking
still
tower
have the
looks ugly.
building in we still got the building in LA that's graffiti that hasn't gone away yet.
What building that's graffitied? Is
So
an
there's
entire building with
they had
graffiti?
recently built a building, but it went I don't know, the company had financial problems, so they never ended up finishing it. And so it got spray painted with you name it on each level. So the whole building is it's one of the tallest skyscrapers in LA, and the whole thing is graffiti, and it hasn't changed.
Oh shit.
I think they should just keep it at this
Graffiti.
point as like some sort of artist museum or
Yeah,
whatever.
like
But
an installation, a permanent installation. I'm with that. I think that's dope.
yeah, but they've been trying to cover up all the graffiti ahead of the Olympics and the World Cup and whatnot, um,
Are they
but
still
they're
doing
not
that
successful.
over here? Because who the hell's going to be able to come?
Yeah, I don't know. It's why I
Specifically
think
for the World Cup, like the majority of no, 98% of fans are outside of this country, and they don't want people here. So how's that going to
well,
work?
I think
FIFA need to do something.
yesterday Spain said that if Israel's there, they're not going. So yeah, it's gonna. I don't know how many teams we'll end up with.
Oh dear, Israel is not going to qualify for the fucking World
Yeah,
Cup. Like what? They're not going to
I
qualify.
mean they
That's not
have in the
even.
past, but yeah, I don't know how good their team is.
When was the last time? I don't even recall when the last time Israel was in
I'm not much of a
got
soccer
out of
fan,
the
so I can't really tell you, but I mean I followed it loosely. Let's see, when was the last time?
it has to be like 15 more? Like I've never even heard of an Israeli player playing for like another like La Liga or Bundesliga
Argentina.
or Premier League. Huh?
Looks like the last time they qualified was 1970.
You see? Like I knew I couldn't have been born yet because I don't remember like
Yeah,
I don't
it
recall. Yeah.
doesn't look like they'll be here.
Man, listen, they're not going to be here, so they don't have to worry about that unless, you know.
Well, and they
They do some
just
shaky
lost to.
stuff.
Looks like they just lost to Italy last month in a qualifying round. So yeah, I don't think they're
If
gonna.
they had won against Italy, I would ban Italy from the World Cup. Like, how do you let so
Italy's not what it used to be.
respectfully, like,
I used to love watching the
not when,
Italian
yeah, they
team
had
when
Buffon
I
and
was a
stuff.
kid,
Yeah,
but they're not as good as they were when I was a kid. That's for sure. I remember as a kid, it was
yeah. I
always
don't think they're
Italy and
fostering as much Italians.
it was always Italy and Brazil when I was a kid.
Oh yeah, yeah.
But
Germany's up there
yeah,
for the most. Whatchamacallit. What do you think about Disney? Do you think that they're gonna have Kimmel back on Monday?
no, I don't think Kimmel will come back.
Re-
I don't. I think
Like,
he's.
he
I
won't
think
want to,
he's.
even
Yeah,
if
I
he
read a
has to, even like a
report
public
today that
apology and da da
because of
da.
it, he doesn't want to do business with them anymore. So I think he'll go somewhere else, which I think
I
is smart.
respect it.
I think he's being held back by the late night scene. I think he should start get into the podcast space and do all that because I think he could do pretty well.
Yeah,
This
like
is like,
Don Lemon, he's had quite success with
yeah, and
that
he's
and
not that
whatever.
good even. So I mean, like in terms of like capturing that manosphere space that we need on the left, there's not a lot of Jimmy Kimmels out there that can do that. There's the left has slim pickings when it comes to the male
I
population.
was trying to figure out who Jimmy Kimmel was, because between him and Fallon, I'm not sure who was who. If I'm being complete, like,
Well,
to it's, I thought it was
back
the
in the
same
day, I used
person.
to.
Well,
I mean,
not the same person, but I was like, who is
I
it?
probably shouldn't admit it, but back in the day, I used to watch the Man Show, so I was a big Jimmy
What's the
Kimmel
Man
fan.
Show?
The Man Show was with Jimmy Kimmel and Adam Carolla back in the early
Oh
2000s,
yeah.
and it was
Oh shit.
hilarious, but it was terribly problematic if you go back and watch it now, especially.
How dare you date us like that by having me agree with you about early
But
2000s? I have no idea what you're talking about.
Jimmy's changed. He's talked about some of the stuff that's happened on that show, so I think now he could go in that with fresh eyes and kind of
Uh-huh.
recapture that space because Jon Stewart does a pretty good job, but he's like
Uh-huh.
not he's too serious. I think he's always diving into this academic stuff, and we kind of need people to unfortunately capture the
Yeah,
dumb
because he's an
things.
adult, right? And he
Exactly.
doesn't he's an adult, and he doesn't need to rely on sight words like the person that runs this country, allegedly
Yeah,
runs this country, whatever. So
but
yeah, I mean, people
we need
need
people
bright
that can.
letters and sight words, huh?
Yeah, we need people that
And
can steer
crayon.
away from like Andrew Tate and those guys, and I think Jimmy could be pretty
Right.
effective.
True.
But
True. How's he not in jail yet? Like, when is this thing gonna
well, he's
get
not in
busy
the
with
country.
Tristain and himself? Huh? He's in
But oh
Romania,
no, he's in
right?
the country now, right? Yeah, because Trump let him in. I'm sure
Yeah,
he'll
but I
be
thought
fine.
he had to go back to Romania.
I don't
I
know.
thought Romania was like, get your ass back here. We got
Find
some
out.
business to finish.
Yeah, where is everybody tonight? Nobody wants to chat.
I don't
Last night we
know.
were
Maybe it's
popping.
me. I could drop.
No, it's not you. It's this algorithm now. Like it does weird things. Like it all of a sudden will just jump randomly. It's not like it used to be.
Like,
Let's see.
but
What
why
is
would
the
people want to do
algorithm?
that, you know? Like, I don't know. It's hard enough
Andrew
being in a room
Tate
talking to
panic tweets.
yourself. Huh?
Andrew Tate panics as he tweets, "There's a man with a gun outside my house." 8 hours ago.
Pardon?
Interesting.
But where
Andrew
is he
Tate.
then?
I don't know. I'm looking it up. With AI now, I realize how bad search engines were.
Oh my God. Horrible. Legitimately.
I try to use it still because I don't want to like gum up all the servers. Let's see here. Andrew Tate is currently living in Florida, so he's still here. He's expected to
Hmm.
return to the UK to face multiple charges, including rape and human trafficking. So he's here now, but he's going back to the UK apparently at some point. We'll
Yeah,
see.
I mean, when the Crown Court brings charges against you, that's not like here. It's not little or nothing. It's not like you
Yeah.
kind of could be in trouble. They pretty much have you dead to rights. You know what I mean?
Andrew Tate is something, my God. I mean, Charlie Kirk was problematic because of the things he says, but Andrew Tate is a whole different level.
But Tate is far more dangerous. He's a different type of dangerous.
It's crazy. Every dad needs to watch Adolescence on Netflix. I don't know why they haven't yet.
Every what?
That everyone needs to watch Adolescence on Netflix if you haven't yet.
Oh my God! It won all 10 awards that it was nominated for at the Emmys or whatever the fuck it was, right? That
It's
that
really
that was so good. I was just like, oh dear. And I realize now how these young boys are being whatever into these fucking incel and bullshit ass communities, and it's
oh
excuse my
yeah.
French, but I'm just like, oh my God, that's terrifying.
No, it's horrible. If you have boys like I do, it's a must watch. Because we've
Right?
done
Yeah,
it.
for sure. Like I
I
told
make
my
sure now
cousin,
that
like,
like every day I'm talking to my boys about what they're looking at when they're on their iPads and about things
right.
going on, and like we just have to be in conversation with these kids because it's crazy.
Roblox has become such a big goddamn problem. That
Yeah.
game makes me want to choke somebody, bro. Because like they are not trying to, they're not trying to protect kids. They're just trying to let the
Right.
predators thrive. And it's just like, are you people okay?
Yeah, my kids are only allowed to do a few games in that. They're not allowed to do the chat. So, but it's
Oh
yeah, it's a
yeah, my
lot.
cousin cut off the chat like 3 years ago from her kid. She was like, yeah, absolutely not. Like there's
No.
some weird person talking to my kid crazy, and it could be a grown man or it could be a child, and you never know. So.
I make one exception, and that's like when they befriend somebody from their school that they actually know, then I allow them to like direct message them. But that's about
Oh,
it.
okay.
But,
Someone's asked you a question in the comments. I can't read it because I'm traveling.
Tony, what's your stance on Ukraine? I'm not sure. I mean, other than the basics, I support them. I don't know that I have
Other
much.
than the basics.
I guess if you're asking me in terms of like U.S. involvement, like the extent of U.S. involvement, I would say I think I'm generally a pacifist, so I'm not much for war, but I also think that when war is a last resort, that you should try to end it fast and you know deal with it as quickly as you can to save lives. And I think what Joe Biden and now Donald Trump is doing to a lesser extent um, is just going to maintain the status quo, which is horrific, indefinitely. I think honestly that if we were going to support
Yeah.
Ukraine, I'd probably support troops on the ground, full on. Let's get them out of
You
here
have to
and
be
end
all
this
in.
suffering.
That's absolutely,
Yeah,
it has to be all in or nothing at all, you know. Or, I mean, maintain, like you said, the status or whatever.
yeah.
But,
If we don't want to do anything at all, I mean, fine, but then you run into the problems in history that we've dealt with in the past, and we don't want to pay for that again. So, um, you know,
yeah.
tough situation. Yeah, I don't like war. I don't want any war. If it's an absolute last resort, I do
Did you
think
hear that that man wants to go back into Afghanistan and get that base
I know it's
back?
crazy.
I'm like, are we all right? Like, what the fuck? What are we talking about? Aren't you the president of no wars? Now you want to oh, we gave the base to the Taliban for next to nothing. What?
Yeah, it's wild. It's
Like,
wild.
what do they have him on?
No idea. How we doing, Cash?
Yo, man, what's up?
We are.
Chris, you want American
It's a
boots?
slow live tonight. So what do you got for us? Take us
Ain't
anywhere.
got nothing. Just curious. Points on Ukraine. You said you kind of want American boots on the ground.
Not that it's not that I want American boots on the ground. I just think that if you're gonna do it, you got to do it because when
That's a
you're
horrible
falling,
thing. That's a horrible thing to say. Because you don't know what the conflict is all about and you already took the side, because the mass media told you so. So,
who told me so?
TV
He said
and the
mass
news.
media.
The TV told me so.
Absolutely.
What do you want to enlighten me?
Come again?
Do you want to enlighten us?
Enlighten you with what? You like to do your own studies. Why don't you start with a 2014 Maidan revolution? Why don't you do that?
The
I
what
mean,
revolution?
I'm familiar. What about it?
What happened?
You're talking about in terms of overthrowing.
Yeah, legal government, legal president, right? Then it was
Well, it was
sponsored by just a
the
second.
election results.
And then
The election
no.
results were
First of all, you said you don't know jack shit. Now it's like, oh, I know. So I'm confused. Do you know, or you just plain dumb?
Why are you yelling in our ear though? Like it's like
Yes,
Not
you
yelling.
said-
Just got my
I'm
phone a little
responding
bit too
to you.
close.
You
I got no problem with you. I'm just like to listen like
You
your
ask me
opinions.
questions. I'm answering your questions. If you would like to enlighten us on why we're wrong, feel free.
I never said you were wrong. You're entitled to your own opinion. I said it's incorrect. I didn't say you were wrong. You
Tell
know.
us why it's incorrect. Feel free to share. I don't. That's what this is for.
Well, you know what happened at Maidan, right?
Tell us. There's people listening. It's not just me. So if you have information,
People listening. It happened 10 years ago, dude. What did
Maybe-
Obama do?
Are you going to make your point or what?
Just a second. What did Obama do to that?
I'm not going to keep answering rhetorical questions. Can you just tell
No,
us
it's not a rhetorical question. Obama sponsored $5 billion out of U.S. budget. So it was instigated by United States. There is a congressional hearing. You can pull out the video if
the
you like.
revolution that we're going back to the revolution? 2014? Are we going
That's
to the
where
orange
it's all started, yeah.
Well, there's multiple revolutions, obviously. You know that. There's the Orange Revolution, too.
It was a more like a coup. It wasn't like a full-blown revolution, but yeah, official.
Wait, you're saying that it was a democratic election, but the results were highly contested.
Oh, we're talking about Ukraine.
Yeah.
Why are you gonna bring the democratic election in for?
In 2014, the results were highly contested. So saying it was like a democratically elected government is a little misleading.
What do you mean? The official Ukrainian president ran away from a country because he had to.
Right, but the Ukrainian government was loyal to Putin for a long time, and they were fixing elections.
Who told you? I'm sorry. Who told you that?
I gotta go. This guy's annoying me. Bye, Tony. I can't.
That's lovely. That's very adult of you, right? Grown up woman, run away.
The Orange Revolution was about because Russia was pissed, and so they
No, the Orange Revolution was before the
they
Maidan.
poisoned an actual democratically elected president. But anyway,
Do you have a proof of it?
have you seen his face?
No, I'm asking you. You made a statement. Do you actually have a proof? Have it been proven that? No. How about the Russian collusions that right now have been disapproved completely?
Widely accepted that Putin.
No. I'm sorry. Do you have a proof of what you just said?
Where did you get your proof?
You're not telling us where you're getting anything.
You make claims, don't give proof, but demand somebody give proof to the other.
I don't make claims.
Exactly.
What do
You're
you-
not
The fact that I said it's already happened. Official, just a second. Official Ukrainian president is residing in Russia right now.
Just disagreeing.
Official Ukrainian president is in Russia right now?
He's been there since 2014. Yeah,
Where do you live?
Michigan.
You live in Michigan.
Oh, is that surprisingly for you? I also have a U.S. citizenship. Yeah, I'm sorry to disappoint you, Your Majesty. I'm so sorry.
You keep shitting on my country.
So
and
presumptuous.
I'm wondering why
He
you
says
live here.
something.
I'm sorry. Did I share on United States? No. I'm sorry. Where exactly did I share on United States?
You said the United States was responsible
Inflation,
for the revolution.
Inflation
I said
nation.
United States sponsored the Maidan Revolution.
Right. And
That's
why
a
was
fact.
that? Why
That's a
was that?
fact.
And why was that?
That is a fact, dude.
Why? Why did they do
Because
that?
when the revolution was happening, they were flying United States flags and NATO flag there.
Why did the United States decide to do that?
Newland went down there with the cookies and gives the cookies to
No,
people
it's
that
because
wanted an alive
It's the
Ukrainian
same
president.
reason- No, it's the same reason why you live here because all the place is a mess.
You don't know the reason why I live here. You cannot speak for me. You
Then
understand
why,
that?
why do you live
Oh,
here?
no, he ain't got that
You
accent.
hate us so much.
Dude. Who told you that I hate United States?
You did.
Where did you come up with that shit?
You
From
just
your
said
mouth.
it.
What, dude? What's wrong with you?
I
Simple
don't like
fucking
you
question.
putting
What
on
is
here.
fucking wrong with you? I give you
That's
freaking
a
facts.
silly
You can do
question.
whatever
If
you
you
fucking
think
want with
there's
it.
something wrong with him, say what you think is wrong with him. Why are you asking him what's wrong with him? You're the one that thinks something's wrong, so you should be saying to yourself, what do I think is wrong with him?
I don't think there's
Not what
anything
do
in the
you think
world.
is wrong with you? That makes no sense.
Yeah, I don't think there's anything in the world that's more irritating than Russian arrogance. That's for sure. Maybe American arrogance, but
The way I actually listened to someone on that yesterday, and the way, and it sounds accurate. Uh, Basically, yeah, some of it's true. Ukraine was part of Russia. They got sovereignty on their with a deal, and
no, that's not
Russia
what happened. That's not what
and
happened. So I actually know like a decent amount more about the subject than I was letting on because he sounded Russian, and I assumed that he knew more than me, but he didn't, obviously. But no, that's not what happened. So historically, there's a link in the church, and it's the link in the church that Putin keeps trying to like sort of pin their identity on. But in modern history, we're talking about post-Nazi Germany, essentially, right?
right.
Um, and then obviously post Cold War after that. And Ukraine was this country that was tossed back and forth. At one point, they even had to align with Nazis to defend themselves against Soviets. Right? It's a place where they've been having to decide between a rock and a hard place for a long time. And they finally, at towards the end of the 20th century, got their own independence. Right? And
What
that
president?
was
What president?
because they had a Russian puppet for years, and so they finally get their independence. Putin
Yeah.
decides to poison their democratically elected president, and they go through the Orange Revolution to try to ensure the results. And that's sort of the basis for modern day Ukraine. They hate Russians.
That is,
Because of what they
it's
did.
ironic that, sorry, dude, but that it was called the Orange Revolution.
Oh yeah,
You
yeah.
see the
No,
irony?
there's actually a documentary on Netflix about the Orange Revolution. I watched it a long time ago, but it's really, really good. So if you guys want to sort of brush up on the history of Ukraine, I highly recommend going and watching that Netflix documentary. It's really good. So I am definitely not an expert on the subject. He came off as if he was an expert, and he was clearly not, and so I gave deference to him. But obviously, he's wrong.
I just, since listening to your, I don't know, these aren't debates, they're just discussions. Debates have timing and your turn, and okay, it's your turn, and that's a debate. What goes on here isn't really a debate. But since I've been watching it, I've noticed a lot of repeat. I don't know what you call them, actions where like, what's wrong with you? If you think about that question, if I'm going to ask you, what's wrong with you?
Right.
You didn't say there was something wrong with you. So that means he's the one that thinks something's wrong with you. So he should be asking, what is it that makes me think something's wrong with him? It just doesn't make sense to me. That's the way my mind works.
I get it. It's I
Yeah.
think what's happened is a lot of these people have jumped into the scene with very little like background, right? They're just jumping in with pure emotion and their own sort of internal moral clock, and they have no experience with any of this stuff. When I worked in politics for about 15 years, and when I first started working in politics, like nobody cared. I was a nerd because
Yeah,
people
yeah,
could
yeah.
care less about
Yeah, I remember
politics, and
back
so
then.
yeah, so when you would talk to somebody about it, it was usually two nerds talking to each other, and so it didn't usually get quiet. I mean, it got heated sometimes, but it didn't
Or
always
you
get
get,
as heated. Now you've got people flying in with their
yeah,
hair on fire, and it's like you first have to control the situation before you can even have a discussion, and
Yeah,
that's not easy to do. So
not easy.
not easy to
Shit.
do. I'm getting worse and worse at it as Trump is president longer and longer, losing my patience. But yeah,
Yeah, it's almost not like Trump is. That's. ah, I mean, it is the worst part because without him, the rest doesn't happen. But our JFK Jr. That's insane. I mean, he's in charge of a very important part of our country, and he's a moron.
It's wild. Even Trump himself said he was wrong about vaccines today, but he won't do anything about it.
It just,
It's
it just
crazy.
never stops with his inability, which is something that he bragged about before he became president. I can pick good teams. I know how to, and it's like,
I think what he's doing is I think he's emperor now, right? He won.
yeah,
He's
yeah,
sitting back. He doesn't have to go to prison. And I think he's just letting his cabinet and MAGA, these Project 2025 types,
yeah,
do whatever the hell they want. And then, if he has a problem with it, he might give them a little shove in one direction, but it's not going to be very hard. And then
yeah,
he kind
yeah.
of lets them continue on their thing. Like he might come out, like when he said, farm workers were going to be protected all of a sudden, and then they weren't. Um,
Yeah.
he's just
And
letting
the,
them do
and the
whatever
only way to help
whatever
them
they want.
is to get more tax dollars, which they were saying wouldn't have to be done. So,
Well,
no
now,
matter what,
yes, now Cash is resorting to threats. That's how you get blocked.
huh?
I said now Cash, the Russian guy, is resorting to threats. So that is how you get blocked, my
Uh,
friend.
are, are, are
I
you
don't
going to
do
be okay?
threats anymore. Right
Are
after the
you,
Charlie
are
Kirk
you
thing, I
going to be
did
okay
live.
after that threat? Are you all right?
Oh no, I'm fine. It's not like a yeah. It's not a
Yeah, no, I was being sarcastic. I'm like,
oh
are you all
yeah,
right? Yeah,
yeah.
this guy's really. I get texts. I'm like, yeah, bye. I mean, it's just stupid. You know,
Well,
it-
I'm
everybody
much quicker with
everybody
the
thinks they're
blocking
working for
too.
the CIA. Oh, I know my computer and I can do things that nobody else can do. And I'm like,
Right.
no, you're not.
I'm much
You know,
quicker with the block now than I used to be because I realize, especially now, there's a few people that really just don't pay attention that much that I'm still trying to reach when they see these debates, right? And so when somebody now, like, when I realize that they're unswayable and they're ridiculous, I'm just blocking them immediately because
mhm.
it does no good. It clogs up the space. So and
Yeah,
maybe give me a few less viewers, but I really don't care. I want to talk to the people, like, even
yeah.
if
There's a
there's one
difference between
left.
the debate. I can tell
Yeah,
that they don't want to debate. They found a place where they can yell
exactly.
their opinions.
For sure. Because
Well,
I've got
they
a lot of
think.
conservatives. I get, yeah, as you've probably seen, I have conservatives on here all the time that are great.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
There's a couple that are following me now. I'm following them. That I didn't.
yeah,
They didn't act. I wouldn't say they did anything wrong. They definitely had some different information.
yeah,
You know,
yeah. Delta, you know
but
what? I think that's what we do. I think we double down on the fascists, call them that over and over and over again. And look what happened with Christian nationalism. They ended up owning it, and because they own it, it works to their disadvantage. So we got to pin that on them and double down on it. That's the way I see it. Not this Hawking Jeffries uh, supporting Charlie Kirk memorials kind of stuff. No, we got to be hard.
oh, that's insane. Oh my God. I mean, I, that's the way I am. I'm like, if I was supporting Charlie Kirk before, I'm just. I wish more people. It's kind of conceited to say this, but I wish more people were like that. Where if I was a supporter of his, I would still, I'd be upset and everything. But to put up any memorial, you know,
I
he.
can't believe there's gonna be 100,000 people in that stadium in Arizona, and it is scary as hell. Scary
It
as hell.
is.
There's nothing. I mean, it's not. Again, it's not. I feel for his kids. I've said that many times. I've caveated it, and his wife. Yeah, that's sad. I don't want people to die, but my God, what are we doing? It's just crazy. It
Yeah,
is crazy.
my
Delta
opinion's
Dawn is,
different.
she was just
Oh,
telling us in the comments how her
Hey guys.
brother's fascist. You want to tell us a story, or if you're willing to do
Yeah. So no, my brother admitted that he himself is a fascist today. Just came right out with it. I was like, I lost it on him a little bit. We were on the phone and I just told him that he was a disgusting human being and that our grandfather, who he idolized, fought in World War II against that. And the story goes on. I hung up on him. He texted me about 10 minutes later and said, I've just been going on all this stuff I've been seeing on TV. I guess I might not be a fascist. I looked it up. He said he looked it up, and I just responded back. I was like, I'm done with you. Read a book. Read a book.
Unbelievable.
It's like,
Ooh, don't tell him that. Tell him to read the right book.
Just any book at this point,
I'm sure
probably.
sounds like he's already read the wrong one. So
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's anything at this point would help. And it was like I was telling my husband, I'm like, let's say I didn't know, and I don't even know if this is a TikTok safe word, so I'm going to say necro.
I don't care
Okay.
about that here. I
Okay.
have no interest yet. I could care less.
Say I didn't know what necrophiliism was.
Yeah.
And people will run around saying that Kamala was. I wouldn't eventually be like, well, yeah, I'm a necrophiliac too. I would look it up.
Yeah.
It up. So I'm
Did
done with that. I think that for me with my brother, I was thinking if I
your
could get.
brother did your brother come at it from like a place? Is he a Christian or is he like more the?
He says he is.
Okay, so is it like more the Christian nationalist wing of Trumpism, you think, or is it more like the I don't give a shit, close down the doors kind of thing?
I think there's a lot going on with my brother. I know there is. We had a rough childhood. There's a lot going on. He was raised in predominantly a matriarch. He literally will like walk into a room and tell other men, I'm the alpha here, just so you know. That's how he introduces himself. He's broken. He's so broken.
Yeah.
And at the same time, he's a person that would do anything for anybody. If you're broke down on the side of the road, he's going to give you his last $5 and fix your car for you.
I got a ton of family just
But
like
then-
that. Yeah.
At the same time, too, though, cheated on his wife and tells everybody he did and that God set him straight. And she's like, my sister-in-law is like, it's so embarrassing to go to the grocery store and my husband just starts telling people how he cheated on me. She's like, I look so stupid. She's like, and he's not the brightest, but he's not the dumbest either. It's a lot. And I just felt like for the longest time, if I could get through to him, I could get through to other people. But after that comment today, it's like either you know what that word means or you really are just dumb and lost. And you never thought to look that up.
That's crazy. Unfortunately, there's a lot of that. A lot of people like that in the country right now.
I want to tell a short story. It'll be pretty short. I was at the gas station and this guy, I'd seen him before. He's a security guard, heavy set, just couch potato. And on the back of his car had a white piece of paper that he wrote with marker, right-wing extremist. And I pulled up and I just happened to be playing on my radio, Imagine by John Lennon. Imagine all the people, So I get out and he goes, oh man, I love that song. And, I looked at the thing on his car and I looked at him. I'm like, something ain't matching up here, So he went in, I pumped my gas. He came back out and I go, hey, can I ask you a question? I go, how can you have right-wing extremists on your window and yet imagine you love that song? Something doesn't sound right. He goes, well, and after the discussion went on, the last thing he said was, well, everybody at work calls me right-wing extremist, so that's what I just go by. But everything that I asked him was leaning left. I'm like, you're not a right-wing extremist. He was so unintelligent that the people at work were able to convince him that's what he is. And he did have a lot of guns, but it's like, have you ever, you could tell he's one of those guys that's just trying to fit into that crowd.
I used to
doesn't
be
even belong in it.
Yeah, I used to be a gun-toting, Bible-wielding conservative. I get it, but
but you're smart.
Comments ask me
I'm not
if
that
it
smart.
says,
I'm not that smart. I have, I was fortunate to where I have, even though I was in sort of like the conservative tunnel, I also had evangelical parents that were very loving. They weren't the aggressive type, and I think that's kind of like an essential factor in giving somebody the opening to leave. It's, when people face a lot of abuse alternatively, it just makes it so much harder. So I am very thankful that even though they were obviously on the right, my parents were very loving and still are. And, it allows you to open up a lot more. But not everybody's got that. So
I was raised Pentecost. I don't even know if I need to say anymore.
yeah.
we were Southern Baptist in upstate New York. Tell me that wasn't interesting.
What was
And
that?
I am actually I still consider myself a follower of
Hey,
Christ.
upstate New York, Southern Baptist. That's what we were, and it was crazy. Everybody
Yeah.
else was either Jewish or Catholic, but we were Southern Baptists.
Oh man, in New
Yeah, I
York.
still consider myself a follower of Christ. I don't attend church or anything like that. I'm just, I would never pressure anybody else anymore. It's more just a personal
Yeah.
faith.
If
But
you guys want to hear something funny, they had the little Sunday school groups when we went to this church. And when I was about 5, the 5, 6, 7-year-old room, we were, and I'm not kidding you, the eager beavers.
Oh my goodness.
Whoever picked that, it was just bad.
That's hilarious.
Anyway, I just needed to get off my chest to somebody that.
you're
like
good.
this
You're good.
thing.
Yeah, I'm actually going to sign off here anyway. It's kind of a slow night,
Yeah.
so I'll probably be back tomorrow.
Pretty crazy.
It's a what?
Somebody's
School
admitted
night?
that broad face to me.
Yeah, sometimes I kind of like the slow nights though, because we just get to chat and hang out. So it's kind of nice. I appreciate you guys being on.